Hello, everybody, and welcome. My name is Bennett Tchaikovsky, also known as the accounting professor, and welcome today to my brief video on California CPA questions answered. What is the difference between sitting for the exam and meeting the educational requirement for licensure? So really quickly, my disclaimer and copyright notice: the information and opinions in this presentation are those of the author only and not the author's employers or affiliated organizations, including but not limited to Irvine Valley College and the South Orange County Community College District. This presentation is for educational purposes only and does not constitute any legal or accounting advice whatsoever. Please know I'm sharing this information through my experiences. Know that the California Board of Accountancy is the ultimate final authority as to whether courses meet or do not meet the educational requirements. I'm ready for that radio announcing job, giving the legal disclaimers. That's my new career. So every state is different. California is very open in terms of educational requirements for the CPA exam, and their kind of philosophy, at least they don't say it, but I really agree with it, is that they use the CPA exam as the final gatekeeper. Other states have very different requirements. South Carolina, you got to take a lot of the classes at a four-year university. I think same as with Texas. However, just make sure you understand the requirements of that particular state. I have done videos on South Carolina and Alaska. If you want me to make a video on your particular state, feel free to leave a comment below. Sitting for the CPA exam in California. Bachelor's degree, 24 semester units of accounting, 24 semester units of business subjects. And to really kind of go through and understand basically where I'm coming from with this, right? So basically how to go through and qualify. This is on, I'll leave a link to this below. Basically educational requirements can be completed at community colleges, university, or other institutions of learning. Bachelor's degree or higher with 24 semester units of accounting subjects, 24 semester units of business subjects. That is what is required to sit for the exam. Also, if you're going to be having, look at this option C, candidate currently enrolled in a college and within 180 days of completing all educational requirements with a bachelor's degree and completion of 24 semester units in each of the accounting and business related subjects. So you can apply to sit for the exam even if you don't have your bachelor's degree, provided you're going to have the 24 accounting and 24 business within 180 days. Little funny story about yours truly. I passed the CPA exam in May of 1991. And if you've heard the story before, I apologize. But I passed the exam. I took a summer school class. I went to UC Santa Barbara. I took a summer school class at UCLA. And when I was working at my big four accounting firm, big six, Coopers and Lybrand, which is now PwC, I got a note in the mail from UC Santa Barbara. They said, "You didn't graduate, Bennett." I was like going, dude, I still freak out about it to this day. And so I had to call UCSB. Oh, they didn't get my transcript from UCLA. They said, okay, like throw it up here. And then they gave me my degree. So yeah, a little bit of a freak out. A little more freaked out about losing my passing all four parts of the exam in one sitting, but that's okay. You want to make sure, though, that you're going to have this done, because if you start taking parts of the exam and you don't have this done, the scores are going to become invalidated. So very, very important thing to go through and remember. By the way, if you have your degree from a foreign country, that's okay. It doesn't have to be in accounting. It could have been in business. When you're going through and looking at this over here, what you have to do if you have your bachelor's degree from somewhere outside of the United States, it could be Cambridge, it could be Oxford, it could be University of Tehran, it could be anywhere. However, you're going to have to be able to go through and get your degree translated by one of these institutions, and you want to have it translated on a course by course basis. Very, very important, because what's going to happen is the Board of Accountancy is then going to basically compare that against the licensing requirements. So it's 24 accounting, 24 business, right? 24 semester units of accounting subjects, 24 semester units of business related subjects. That's to sit for the CPA exam. If you need help, right? If you're saying, dude, I don't know what I'm doing, that's okay. I'm going to leave this email below, which is my IBC30 to CPA at gmail.com. I will send you a copy of this sheet to your Gmail address. You can come over here. You can list out every course you've ever taken, even if it was, say, in police officer training, whatever it might be, doesn't matter. List out everything because every unit that you took at a community college or four-year university counts. If you have your degree from a foreign country, wait until it's translated and then send me an email saying, dude, can you list these courses out? So that's going to be the first part over here in terms of looking at this, in terms of going through and sitting for the CPA exam. Very important too, and this is really now meeting the educational requirements to become licensed as a CPA. So sitting, bachelor's 24 and 24. If you are going to be working, if you get an offer letter from your employer, oftentimes they will give you access to Becker or UWorld or Ninja or Gleim. They'll give you access to a CPA review course, Surgeon, right? They'll give you an access to Universal CPA Review. They're going to give you access to a CPA review course. What you're going to want to go through and do is when you get access, is I would strongly recommend you try to take and pass that exam as quickly as possible, right? Get that exam out of the way because at the end of the day, you need to have a CPA behind your name. That's why we're here. So coming right over here, that's to sit for the exam. Now, to meet the educational requirements to become licensed is very, very different. By the way, when you're applying to sit for the CPA exam, coming back over here, I'm going to go ahead and duplicate this one. Okay, so to apply for the CPA exam, just type in, apply for California CPA license. When you type this, California CPA license online application, basically, and if I come over here, applicants, let's see where this takes me. I'm an exam candidate, and where do we go over here? Forms, I don't know, hold on. Let's see here. Okay, apply for the CPA exam. Okay, this is what I was looking for. So we're going to apply for that CPA exam. I will also leave a link for this. You would go here to establish account. Remember, you're going to have your transcript sent to the Board of Accountancy. You'll go through that process as you're going through and establishing your account. Make sure if you did your degree in a foreign country and they're showing up on these things over here, you're going to need to make sure that they send it over to the California Board of Accountancy. So coming back over here. So that's for sitting for the CPA exam to meet the educational requirements to become licensed as a CPA. What does that mean? Well, over here, I have to have completed my year of work experience, right? I have videos on that. I'm going to leave a link to that below. I need to have passed all four parts of the CPA exam. I need to have passed the take-home ethics test administered by Cal CPA. What they're then going to do, because I had a student who said to me, Bennett, I'm missing a class. Can you add me? And fortunately, she was able to add my class within about a week of the deadline, added her to the class. She's doing great in the course, but she had to take this course because when the Board of Accountancy is looking at the 150, this was to sit, and then you've got accounting study and ethics studies. This is what you need to go through and do to basically meet the educational requirements to become licensed. Two different things, right? To become licensed, you need the 20 semester units of accounting study, 10 semester units of ethics studies. Some quick things here. Of the 20 of accounting, only 6 need to be in accounting. 14 can be in business. Basically maximum of 9 from these areas. So if you were a history major and you took an English course, 3 units of that can count towards this. If I took a Spanish course, Russian, Polish, if I took a foreign language, 3 units of that can count over here. Industry-based courses, courses with the word industry administration in the title, or courses completed with the following disciplines: engineering, architecture, and real estate. That can also count as well, right? Maximum of 4 in internships, independent studies, or business related subjects. And then you've got this master's of accounting. Now, really quickly here, what I do like about the CPA: can be completed at community colleges, university, or other institutions of learning. That's really going to be, it has to be accredited. Whatever your university you're going to, it needs to be accredited. Now, when it comes to getting a master's degree in accounting, that's great. You have a bachelor's degree, you can get a master's. However, a master's degree is very expensive. Look at the prices. And if you, now look, cool thing is Deloitte, at both University of California at Irvine and Cal State Fullerton, they underwrite 10 full scholarships for those masters of science and basically masters in accountancy programs, right? So they're giving 10 scholarships, I believe, to each school through the Deloitte Foundation, which is awesome. Great work, Deloitte. So if you are kind of going through and, like looking at this now, if I'm going to one of those master's programs, even if it's paid, I still have to pay for living, still have to pay for parking, which at UCI is not cheap. And also Cal State Fullerton, I still have to pay for those costs, right? So when I'm going through and I'm looking at this in terms of what makes sense for me is that if you go through and take the courses you need at a California community college, you're looking at about $1,500. Now, this doesn't include health fee, other little costs there, and this is for in-state residents, right? So if you're going through and taking the accounting courses at a community college, it is very, very cost effective, right? You take them at your own pace, take them when you want to go through and to do it, right? Not only IBC, there are Irvine Valley College, there are many other schools around California that offer these upper division, I don't call it upper division, but these courses up here. At IBC, we offer Intermediate Accounting 1, Intermediate Accounting 2. I'm starting a class on financial reporting that's going to be taught in spring of 25. We're offering financial statement auditing this summer. We're offering this fall, Professor Bradshaw is going to be offering his internals controls class, which is accounting 275A. And if you go through and ask me to go through and say, okay, can you send over to me, what are the classes you offer at IBC? This is basically what we go through and offer, right? So it's these plus the accounting 1A, 1B courses, but this is what we're offering over here at Irvine Valley College. So this is what you need, though, to do. So to meet the educational requirements to become licensed, after you have the work experience done, passed all 4 parts of the CPA exam. By the way, the work experience, I've been supervised by an actively licensed CPA, either indirectly or directly. And that's for general experience. For auditing experience, very different. That's a much bigger form. Usually takes about 2 years to get that knocked out. I'm also passed the take-home ethics test, which is open book. I will then basically, at that point, that's when they're going to say, oh, do you meet all 150? So, by the way, if you're interviewing for a Big Four accounting firm, this is what they want you to have done. They want you to have the 150 semester units completed. Why is that? Because when you're working for one of the Big Four firms or some other firms as well, some firms are a little bit more lenient on it than others. It just depends on the firm, but Big Four, almost all of them want the 150 done because you're going to be working a lot of hours per week. When you start full time, you're going to be putting in a lot of time. So they don't want you to be doing this. But again, my strongest advice I can give you is as soon as you possibly can, apply to sit for the CPA exam. So if you're going to graduate in the next 6 months, you want to apply to sit for the exam and start studying for that test and get it out of the way. If you get it out of the way while you're in school, if it's possible for you to do, not always going to be possible, but if you can get it done while you're in school, your life is going to be significantly easier for your professional career. So that's it. Thank you for joining me here today. I'm I make these videos because I get questions from students. And so hopefully this is helpful. If you have comments or questions on this video, feel free to leave me an email here. If you would like me to send you a mapping, and I'll leave this email address below, this is the address for that. So thank you so much. Have a great day. And I look forward to seeing you on future videos. If you would like to see a video on another subject, feel free to leave a comment below. Have a great day.